Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. Hey, no big opening speeches today, and no big quotes today. I want to jump right into the conversation with my friend, Mayor FoFo Gilich, the mayor of the city of Biloxi, someone I really enjoy visiting with periodically. We'll get an update on the bridge situation, the toll bridge scenario, just a scenario. It's just being proposed to have a conversation in the community about it. There may be other options. We're going to talk about that here in just a second and find out what else is going on in Biloxi these days. But without any further ado, let me just say good morning to you, FoFo. How you doing?
Good morning, Ricky. Listen, I'm appreciative of it. All the conversations we have. I always learn something, and it's a treat for me to shoot the breeze with you. And whoever else might be listening, but it's great.
So look, I have Julian Rankin from the Walter Anderson Museum is going to be on tomorrow, and one of the things I'm sure we're going to talk about is the Ground Zero Blues Club. And I was really fortunate, FoFo, that I had the opportunity to have a 1-hour visit on Coast Vue with Bill Luckett. As you know, he's Morgan Freeman's partner in that effort that unfortunately died a few months ago. But not long before he passed away, I actually had an hour with him, and we talked about the story of the Ground Zero Blues Club, how he and Morgan came to do it in Clarksdale, how Clarksdale needed it so badly. But then more specific to that, though, and beyond sort of the economic impact that it had for the city of Clarksdale, was the opportunity they had to connect all these blues artists, both past and present, with sort of the role that they played in influencing music around the world. I mean, think about the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and Eric Clapton. I mean, the story goes on and on, but they have done such a great job of the authentic, of sort of keeping the authenticity of the contribution of Delta Blues and bringing, again, some of the older artists, some of the younger artists, and bringing them through that blues club. One of the things that Bill Luckett told me was, and again, it was just an incredible conversation, that at any given time he could walk around the blues club, and there may be 50% of the people who are not from America who are in the blues club. They might be from Europe, Australia, all around the world, coming there to understand sort of where's the root of this incredible music scene for the influence that it's had on so many artists around the world. I think the Ground Zero Blues Club in Biloxi has the same kind of opportunity. I don't want it to be a Disney, just the Disney version of the Clarksdale, but to be a Biloxi version of the Clarksdale version. And you're a music guy, you got to be super excited about that.
Oh yeah, like I said, we did a lot of interviews and things about Biloxi's music scene, especially Main Street, but things that we had on the Strip. I mean, it was all for real. Bill Luckett's son was down, and we shared, just some poignant moments and so forth. But he has that passion too. And, it's just, it has a gravity, gravity in the universe. It attracts. And I think this has what you're getting at, that same kind of gravity. We've got, between New Orleans and Mobile, we've got some musicians and we got some talent and we've got some authentic things. And I think that's the two things that made, the Ground Zero in Clarksdale. It's authentic. Nothing, nothing made up. It's its own thing. I think we'll have, a similar experience. And, back when I was, 12, 13, 14 years old, and some of the things that were cooking. Irma Thomas was one, I've seen her at the Ground Zero, but it's that same, real deal. You can't make this up. You can't copy it. It's its own thing. I think that's what we'll have here too.
I think we will too. And for people who don't know, you heard me say it a second ago, but FoFo's a musician. He's got a long history as a musician, and kind of remind people what that past was like for you, FoFo.
Well, like I said, music was everywhere. And one of my good friends, Leroy Corney, we revisited. He's a couple years younger than me, but he remembers all of the places on Main Street, the places, that we all kicked around, especially when we were young, too young to go in, but we could listen to the music. And we could really, every place had, a person performing, and that was just part of the scene, and just from Main Street, from Howard Avenue, the Strip, and even Irma Thomas being here when I was 10 and 11th grade, she was here with that same fast domino, and just it was they copied a lot of, like Rolling Stones, they copied Irma. Time is on my side. Now, interesting story. I think Bonnie Raitt's coming here in a month or so. Now, there was a documentary, Irma Thomas, My Life in Music. Now, 65, that's when I graduated from high school. 65, she cut Time Is On My Side. She did a tour in England, and they were getting from this offshore communications boats that used to broadcast, pirate radios. Rolling Stones heard Time Is On My Side by Irma Thomas. So the Rolling Stones heard her perform it. They covered it 1966, and it went to the top, She was tired of, in this, I don't want to pitch the whole thing, but she was tired of explaining it. I did it first. Okay. Now, she said, I'm not doing it. I'm going to solve that. I'm tired of talking, about what's what and who's who. Well, in 93, now she stopped playing Time Is On My Side, but Rule of All My Heart, Alan Toussaint, all of it. That's the real kind of flavor we could, realize. But Bonnie Raitt in 1993, a national New Year's Eve event, the producer said, "Look, I need you to play." She said, "The only thing I'll play the show if Irma Thomas sings with me." Now, I'm telling you, this is the best music I've ever heard. And they all had about 5 or 6 horns behind it, and they're just top notch. But Time On My Side with Irma Thomas and Bonnie Raitt was the best, period. I'm telling you.
Hey, so do you still play your guitar?
No, piano. I got a little keyboard.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Keyboard.
Piano. I noticed you had a little something on your finger. What happened?
I had a little duplicate contracture, a little trigger finger, and I couldn't straighten it out. But now it's okay. Dr. Leach did a good job. I went to a little bit of operational, what do you call it? Not recovery, but post-op visit today.
So you're still playing. What's your favorite music to play?
I like rhythm. I like all of them. I like the Beatles. I like Rolling Stones, a number of Rolling Stones. I like everything, rhythm and blues, fast domino. I mean, everything, and you name it, I love it. I even like the classical stuff. Not that I can read music. I've just discovered, I've been playing, 50-something years, your in-law, your uncle by marriage. So we never took music. We did anything. I just discovered I've been playing all my chords, and I've played a bunch of years in rock and roll band. I've been playing all my chords inverted, which means I've been working too hard. My fingers, if somebody would have taught me a little bit about how to do these things, it'd been easier for me.
Hey, when I started playing piano, my mother was a piano teacher. I was a drummer. That's what I did. I played drums. I still play drums, but I've learned to play chords wrong. I mean, I play the chords right, but my fingers are not right.
That's me. I mean, I'm just learning. So, Wayne Desport told me. So what? There was a couple of songs that you have to play these chords, like "Color My World," right?
I know that one for sure. Yeah, you have to
play. If it's a C, your thumb is on the C, then you play the minors and all that sort of thing. Yeah. So I do that okay, but I could have been playing a lot of other songs a lot easier. But that's
my mom would say, "Bubba, please use your little finger, please." Yeah. And it wasn't until something like "Color My World" that would actually come into play. But I know it well. Hey, listen, before we get too far away from this, I just want to say, you think back at Gus Stevens and what came through Gus Stevens and the impact that it had. A great visit with his daughter to talk about that history.
That's right.
But there's a real opportunity for us to not only have a touch of the Delta blues. We have Blues Trail of Marker in coastal Mississippi, but we can put our fingerprint on it. I'm looking forward to watching that evolve.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It really is.
It's gonna be really cool. Hey, in the second part of the show, we'll talk about the bridge and what's the latest. Just in general, how things going with you these days?
It's been nonstop. I'm telling you. Everybody felt like the world stood still for about 18 months, but it never really stood still. Our numbers were terrific. As far as gaming and visitation and those kinds of things. And every year we go through this, I don't want to say everything is on the top of the world, because if we could use those funds and those things to further economic development in the coast, as far as infrastructure and other opportunities. But it's amazing. I really enjoy, because it would be a surprise if there was not a surprise every day. But you do what you got to do, because I love what I'm doing.
Well, that's exciting, because at the end of the day, think about the amount of money. We're coming to the end of the segment, but we'll pick it up on the other side. The amount of money that's been sitting on the sidelines from a development point of view.
Right.
And during this downtime, some of these developers had an opportunity to kind of take a step back and say, do we really want to do that one over here? Maybe we want to do this one over in Biloxi, or maybe we want to put more money in the project in Biloxi, or I can only imagine what those conversations
Well,
look like.
there's things that have been around for a couple of years, the opportunity zone, and that's what we're in the middle of, and they're coming in capital, gains.
Absolutely. We'll pick it up on the other side and continue that part of the conversation. We'll see you after this break with Mayor FoFo Gilich. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have Mayor FoFo Gilich from the city of Biloxi. And when we went to break, though, we were talking about, the fact that, for Biloxi, really, if you just look at what happened in what happened in Mississippi, we came back pretty rapidly once the economy started to open back up again. Biloxi had some record months in casino gaming. What that meant is a lot of people came into this community. A lot of people drove into this community. They felt safe being in their cars. It played well to our approach that we took here in coastal Mississippi, especially for communities like Biloxi. And, a lot of conversations were still taking place about new developments. The Ground Zero Blues Club is one of them, but there are many others. And then you can, as I mentioned before we went to break, you can only imagine the number of recalibrating that might be happening, where people were saying, we were going to take a risk in that community over there, but we need to rethink about Biloxi again, because there's so much activity there. We need to ride this wave with Biloxi. There's a lot of that stuff going on now, isn't there, FoFo?
It certainly is. 200 home subdivisions, just a lot of just properties. You look around, live, work, and play downtown. Nico's actually revisiting the old Borden's Milk, which converted to about 19 pretty cool looking apartments, plus 2 or 3 restaurants on that first level. And they also with the Magnolia Hotel and that restaurant down by Mary Mahoney's. Rizzuto's. I don't know if we talked about Rizzuto's. They're on the way. Action is here. And they're ready to meet the challenge. Again, I think the be able to actually land these opportunities, and then the jobs that go along with filling those vacancies, that's a lot of concern, especially in the restaurant and hospitality business, getting people to work these facilities. No, it's nonstop, but we every day can we do this, and my action is, of course we can do that. Well, how can we help you? That's and especially this day and this time, it's extraordinary.
Think about it for a minute. Think about the number of people coming into Biloxi already just because of the casinos. Just right there, that you got a base of visitors and others who are coming there. You think about what's happening, and I could break it down, because I've had all the mayors on my show to talk about what's happening in each of these communities. But I would say at the top of the list for these sort of walkable communities, obviously Ocean Springs is up there. What they've done, how you have this great walkable community, lots of restaurants.
Where's that? Where's that?
Ocean Springs.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
And then in Bay St. Louis, you think about what's happening with Bay St. Louis, the Pearl Hotel and the art community and all these restaurants. Biloxi can stake its claim, man. What's happening downtown Biloxi today could literally be sort of the next walkable community. You see that clearly, don't you?
I think so. And what we did a few years about restoring that two-way traffic and that brick infrastructure. Now you look at what's coming out the ground right now. Of course, Ground Zero being the tip of that volcano that's coming up through the Pacific. But yeah, you look at our visitation now. We're like 49 as far as population based on the 2020 census. We're 49,680, just right under 50,000. But we have 4.2 million visitors and our 7,000 hotel rooms. Now you do the arithmetic. You can see why we have 1,500 or 1,600 calls for service, because the people, we have a shadow population, so to speak, we have to service. And so we can justify everything we do. But that puts us in a little bit different arithmetic with things like everybody's talking about new grocery stores and new opportunities. Well, the first move that, you look at crosshairs at Cobb Street, Division Street, that's in the middle of 7,000 hotel rooms. That's a little bit different arithmetic than Rouse's or Publix or Trader Joe's. What they do, draw a circle, 2-minute drive time. What is your total, income in that house? Then I can justify my whole game plan. But this is a little different situation. We got people with different profiles, and we got a lot of them. So that arithmetic for marketing, you know how it is. I mean,
yeah.
The technology will tell you, the analytics will say, hey, this is a little different situation. So, I mean, it's hard for me, to get that across. But this is a different kind of, and I think it's a great opportunity to make the jump,
I see it happening, and I share your enthusiasm for it. Hey, let's get the latest on the bridge.
Yeah.
I think one of the most compelling things that you and I talked about before, and people need to understand this, that when you go to rebuild a bridge, there are federal funded bridges that the federal government is responsible for. The state has its priorities. Unfortunately, the Popp Ferry Road Bridge is not a federal bridge and it's not a state bridge. It's a city bridge. So by the time you go through all these buckets of money, and we could break it all down for you, but just trust us that the infrastructure money is gone before it gets to the city of Biloxi. That's just the reality. What the mayor and I have talked about in the past is either we build it using a toll in a 5-year window, or we don't get a bridge in our lifetime. And I know that the notion of a toll, I've been not excited about the possibility of a toll, but if you just look at the reality of where we are, there's no big bucket of gold coming at the end of a rainbow that's going to bring money to this. If we want a new bridge, we've got to find new ways to do it. Is that essentially the bottom line?
That's the assessment. And again, with the bridge, and they've been pretty aggressive in polling folks and this United Bridge Partners, which we've been appreciative of what they brought to the table, because it puts you real dollars. You and I shared a while back that when I became mayor in 2015, we had two bridges and a ability to tie from 67 all the way through Interstate 10 across to another causeway and a bridge, but also tie all the way to Highway 90. Now, Interesting that we're going to actually, one of the big things that to make us eligible is to be a state road, which is there's a number of acronyms that you say has to be on this plan or this plan. But if we tie that, then it takes a highway to a highway. In 1979, when Biloxi annexed the area, that's when things kind of said, okay, it's your deal. But facts are facts. Look, that's what I'll look at. Some of the things that the problem has been, not only the traffic load, but the bridge breaking down. Okay, if that's the main problem, then and everybody can say, I'm going to put up with the traffic. An easier solution that we can, $180 million for one bridge is out there, out there, 250,000 miles like around the moon. That's not going to get there. I can't get, that on the radar to even say, no, hey, come back with another plan. But there are secondary solutions to fix the draw. It's actually a good structure to rehab the bridge and its, pathways to at least to keep it from breaking down. As I mentioned in previous, that this is not just a Biloxi problem. This is a regional problem. You go look at the service boats and the opportunity on Seaway, and if they can't get through that bridge, that's a regional problem. It could be welded shut and nobody could come around. Literally, a few weeks back when it got cold and got warm again and the structure didn't line up. And people would have, I had people call me from boats, not from, because everybody was stopped. So that sort of, put the dot on the I. This is a problem. But it doesn't have to be a high-rise problem, a bridge too far, so to speak, but $180 million is a significant stroke. And unless it's a state designated bridge, you have no play at DOT, okay? We've been working with MDOT, better than ever on how we can get the designation so we can go after the big bridge money. But to do the arithmetic, I think we shared this before, there's $3.3 billion coming from that infrastructure push down to the state of Mississippi. Of that $3.3 billion, $225 million is designated for bridges. That's every bridge in Mississippi. Now, what chance do you think I've got of getting 180 million or 50 million out of that 225 of every bridge and every structure? And that's just the facts.
So FoFo, what I hear you saying is that it's either do a United Bridge Partner scenario where they would finance the bridge and they would get paid back through a toll, and we would end up with this state-of-the-art 95-foot bridge, et cetera, et cetera. It's that approach, but there's a toll associated with that.
Right.
And based on what I'm reading, it seems that a lot of Biloxians are having issues with it. Okay, so that's that one. And then over here, though, you're already working on a backup plan, which involves fixing the drawbridge, because that has to be fixed. And maybe I heard also maybe doing some other updating on the bridge.
Update the bridge. Yeah.
So how far along is that process?
Well, we're weeks away. We've been studying for the last month and a half, and some of our engineers are bringing the nuts and bolts. Now, rehab is a lot different. $15 million is a lot different than $180 million, and that's in not rarefied air. But I can twist people's arms. Hey, man, this is what's done. I justify. It's not a regional problem. I mean, it's not a Biloxi problem. This is a regional problem.
The mayor's right. It's a regional problem, but the problem is it falls on Biloxi to solve the problem until the state recognizes this as a state bridge. Then we get more parties involved in the solution. Otherwise, it's either doing a toll or making improvements to the bridge, and we'll see how that all plays out. I'll talk more about that with Bill Lavers, who's coming up in the next part of the show. We'll see you after the break.